Hey folks, this is Matt aka Slash and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. We have left the Kerbacular Space Station behind and have planned out a maneuver. You can see our maneuver node here that will take us out of Kerbin's sphere of influence, out, and around the sun, and over here to Duna with a Duna encounter. So, all that remains now is to line up with it and then burn at the appropriate time. Unfortunately, I don't actually know how long it's going to take this burn because we've never fired off these engines before in this configuration. So, I figure at about T-minus 10 minutes or so, or when I'm a little bit more in line with maybe like over here-ish, I'll give it a burn and see what kind of estimate it comes up with, and then we'll adjust accordingly. So I'm going to fast forward to that, and then we will see you at that point. Naturally, this burn is going to happen on the dark side of the planet, so should look pretty spectacular once I have these guys going. Just trying to get turned here. And then once we get locked in on target, we'll slowly throttle up. Actually, once we get locked on target, the first thing we're going to do is quick save. Because I'm not confident that this ship isn't just going to fly to pieces whenever we try this. So let's slowly throttle up. Alright, hey, that seems to be holding together pretty nicely, actually. The estimated burn doesn't quite know what to do with itself. I think we're just gonna burn right now. And see what we end up with. What is that doing to our orbit? Alright, seems to be, it's raising our periapsis, bringing it around. I'm pretty happy with this. I think we're going to just stick with this plan and see what happens. Now, the overheat's a slight concern, but not too much of one. I think we'll be okay. I'm going to keep an eye on it, though, as we go. But look at that! It's working! It's working! What in the world is going on with the universe? I don't know if you can see this on YouTube, but the entire background is flickering. But only from this angle. If I come up here, it's fine. But as soon as I come here, it starts flipping out. Weird. Anyway, we are on course for a Duna encounter in 82 days. It was a bit hairy getting here because I didn't record because it was just a lot of very boring, waiting for things to happen. But these guys, these outer booster tanks, aren't at quite the same angle to each other. So I do get a little bit of rotation as a result because one's burning just slightly up this way and the other one's slightly down that way. So I was getting some rotation, and that was causing these docking clamps to be perilously close to just breaking connection, which obviously would have caused a major disaster if that had been the case. But right now, things are looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and fast forward over to our Duna encounter, and that's going to take quite a while. Meanwhile, our little Voyager probe is now clearing the orbit of Duna and is continuing on its way out of the solar system. It should make quite a bit of progress on its way out towards an escape point. Although, I don't know. I don't think there is an escape point out there, is there? I think it just kind of keeps going and going and going. Oh, our electric charge keeps jumping up and down as the solar panels get blocked, but that's not too much of an issue because we have people on board. If it was a probe, it would be an issue if it went down to 0 and we couldn't control it anymore. But we've got Kerbins on board. So we are in good shape. Alright, well, I'll catch up with you guys when we get to Duna, because this is going to take a little while. Do you see Duna, guys? Can you find it? I wouldn't blame you if you couldn't, because it's real tiny. It's here, right above my mouse cursor. There's Duna. I have set this probe as the target for the time being, just so I could find Duna, but this is our trajectory. We have a periapsis of 38 million meters out. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to obviously need to bring that down and get ourselves an orbit. So I'm going to just start firing retrograde here and see what we can end up with. Why won't... Sorry, set as target. I want to clear the targets entirely. Oh. It set it as a target, and now it won't let me unset it as a target. Alright, whatever. Let's slowly get ourselves turned over here to point retrograde. There we go. This guy's got quite a bit of fuel, so I might attempt to get to Ike first. Or maybe even go to Ike afterwards. Maybe land on Duna first, then re-dock with these guys and stop by Ike on the way home. And let's cheat a little bit. There we go. Little time warp to lock things in. Let's just put the SAS on. And we'll throttle up to about a third. Yeah, you can see what that does there. These parts here start to bow in a bit from the force. So I try not to make rapid changes in our thrust level. Let's bring it up a bit more. Go for about 2/3. I think it's about the limit of safety here. Because I'm very concerned about these guys just snapping off at some point, and then we'd be in bad shape. As a matter of fact, and I always decelerate slowly too, because if you just cut the engines off, it's a lot more violent. I'm going to go ahead and hit the quick save button real quick before I continue any further down this path. Alright, what kind of impact are we having on life here? Not much of one. What does it think that it would take? Out of curiosity. I should have tweaked this en route, but I didn't even think about the fact that we might be that far away. Oh, that actually, right there. That puts us in an Ike encounter. That might be kind of fun, actually. If we get an Ike encounter on the way down in, then I will plan to stop for that, and we'll land on Ike first. But this burn's going to take a while, so I'll rejoin you once we have something... Actually, this looks really good, because wouldn't this put us then in a Duna orbit? Maybe with a little bit less effort? Yeah, anyway, we're going to try this and see what we end up with. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright guys, we've only got about 50 meters per second left on this Delta V, on this maneuver. So I thought I'd bring you back in as we try to complete this. Let me get myself lined up here. And we'll start our burn. Let's lock in on that. The guys are doing pretty good. They're pretty happy in general. Bob's a little nonplussed, but everybody else is doing pretty good. Nonplussed is one of my favorite words because it is one of the weirdest things I've ever... I first read it, I think, in a book, and I was like, what the heck does that mean, nonplussed? He's not doing addition? I mean, what does that mean, nonplussed? I throttled down to try to adjust my attitude with the ship to stay on this node. If I try and turn at too high a velocity, or too high a thrust factor, it tends to cause me problems. I want to try and bring this as close to 0 as I can, because I really liked what this encounter, this maneuver was supposed to do. And even though I started it early, it should result in essentially the same thing. As long as I stay on this blue dot and I get the maneuver right where I want it. Almost there. Okay, I think 0.1 meter per second is probably a good enough margin of error there. So let's go ahead and kill that. And it did not get us our Ike encounter, but it did get us a periapsis of only 1,000 kilometers. 1.4 million. Yeah, 1.4 million meters from the surface of Duna. So we might be able to tweak this a little bit as we get in closer. If I double click over here, focus on Duna. Whoa! Am I zoomed in? No, it's loading. Oh, focus sphere 1. Oh, yeah, this is our guy. Remember this guy? He's parked on the surface? It's not exactly what I meant to do. I wanted to come here. And then what's this? Duna lander. Oh yeah, that's us. That's us on our way up. From way down there. Cool. Alright, let's switch over here. And hope that the ship did not explode in the process of switching focuses. It looks like it's still in one piece. That's a good sign. I like that. Alright, so let's time warp our way up to our new periapsis. And I think we're going to go for the Duna landing, and we'll worry about trying to get an encounter with Ike after we have successfully completed the Duna landing. I think that is the way to go about it. Woo, look at Ike go. Yeah, we were really far out from Duna. Whoa, okay, yep. We're definitely approaching the periapsis, because we're getting a lot faster. Let's see about... Let's just aim for this retrograde marker. Let's see if we can't bring that periapsis down under, say, 30 kilometers. I think Duna's atmosphere starts at 40. So I want to try and get some aerobraking benefit here, if at all possible. I doubt I'll get much, but any way that I can save some fuel would be a good thing. So I'm actually starting to worry about getting these guys back with the fuel that I have remaining. I think it can be done. But I am a little worried now. Looking at how much fuel we've used just to get here. Alright, now let's watch the map and let's see what a little... Yeah, we can bring this periapsis down pretty quickly. I mean, we're doing okay on fuel. He tells himself. Just focus on the... I don't want to see the probe on the surface here. Let's see, it says... Sphere of influence, right. Where's the... Atmosphere starts at 50,000 kilometers, okay. So yeah, let's aim for 30, and let's see what we get out of that. Okay, I'll settle for this. This is about 32,000 meters on the periapsis, so I think that will work quite nicely. But now that we've got that course set, I realize we have not done any science since we've been out here. So let's do a few things. Let's get a crew report. Crew report high in space over Duna, or in space high over Duna. Planet's very red and appears to have deep brown furrows across the surface. There does appear to be some kind of ice at both poles, though. Let's transmit that for 35 science. Very cool. So while that's transmitting, let's see if we can't get a temperature reading. No, we cannot do that right now. How about, okay, pressure data, that is ridiculous. And seismic accelerometer is not going to give me anything either. Okay. So that's fine. Now, let's have Bob. Oh, I should have closed the solar panels first. Okay, don't move, Bob. Don't break the solar panels. Alright, we have an EVA in space high over Duna. Let's keep that. And we'll reboard. And then I think we can just transmit that now. Review stored data. Yeah, we get full value when transmitted. So we're going to go ahead and transmit this too. The goo here we're going to save for the surface. And most of this other stuff we're going to have to take on the surface too. Alright. Fantastic. Science is being rapidly accumulated. Not that I know what I would do about this if this happens, but I'm a little bit concerned about the atmosphere actually causing torque on these parts and potentially causing us issues with things ripping off. But what I am going to do is I'm going to get turned to point retrograde. And if this aerobraking in Duna's atmosphere doesn't seem to be as effective as desired, then I'll apply some additional force from the engines. But I'd like to try to let Duna do the work if I can, just to save on fuel. And we are officially entering Duna's atmosphere now. I'm going to put the SAS on, and you know what, I think, electric charge is great. I'm going to go ahead and close the solar panels just in case we get some friction going on that could potentially blow those off. I don't think I'm going deep enough in the atmosphere, and I think the atmosphere is generally too thin anyway for that, but better safe than sorry. What kind of impact is this having on the apoapsis so far? Not a whole heck of a lot at this point. Seems like it's just slowly starting to work its way down. So I think I might apply some additional force here because we're only scheduled to go down about to 32,000, and that's in another minute and a half. I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of aerobraking here. So let's throttle up a bit. Let's just go for about a third throttle. I think that's reasonable. What kind of impact is that having? Yeah, there we go. That's having a dramatic impact from this far out. Alright, we get a different crew report now, because now we're in space near Duna. It's the same kind of text here, but we're going to go ahead and transmit this. Doesn't seem like the atmosphere of Duna is particularly strong, because we've got 30,000 meters there, and you know, we're not really getting any atmospheric re-entry effects or anything like that, so I don't think aerobraking with Duna is all that feasible unless you dip way down in at a scary altitude. Then you might get something useful, but I'm not brave enough to do that. Alright, I think we're going to try and get this apoapsis down to about 60 kilometers, and then we'll push the periapsis out to that same level. And then I will call that a very nice parking orbit around Duna, almost polar. So we might actually aim for the snow as opposed to trying to rendezvous with our old module there. Getting pretty close. We just need another 50 kilometers of altitude change on that apoapsis. Which is actually ending up over here now. You know what? I think we're gonna stop here. And I cut the engines off a little sudden. Everything looking okay? Yeah, look how wiggly they are. That's no good. Let's, do the time warp. Oh, we're in the... I don't want to do a time warp. No, I changed my mind. I forgot we're in the atmosphere. I can't time warp the version that snaps everything back into place. So we'll just wait this out. It's fine. Don't want to accidentally shear that off, but yeah, we're gonna come over here and we'll raise this back up above 50,000. And then we'll be in a nice parking orbit around Duna. And then next episode, we will attempt our actual landing on the surface. Probably going for an ice cap, but we'll just see what turns out. Thank you guys very much for watching, and tune in next time for the exciting conclusion of our attempt to land on Duna. And then after that, we'll have to get home. But that's another matter entirely. See you next time!